You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Right now at 7, getting a college degree may not be enough for job security. We'll hear how trade schools may be the future. Also, Missouri citizens will be voting come November on whether to amend the state constitution to regulate sports betting.
And we've got a really nice day ahead once these clouds finally clear out.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Lindsay Gaffney. It's 7 o'clock already. I mean, time's just flying by, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I'm loving it.
Friday, September 6th. We're already making it through the first week of September, and you know, it's just beautiful sunrise out there that you showed us.
I have been talking about the sunrise.
Pre-fall weather.
I'm definitely excited about it.
Yeah. Well, getting a college degree has long been considered the ticket to a high-paying and stable job, but as students return to campus, could trade or vocational school now be a faster path to economic success?
Michael shares how to trade schools may be the way to go.
There's a surprising trend that appears to be paying off for younger workers.
Success should not be measured by the color of the collar. With the lack of skilled labor force and those trade and technical jobs, we see the need and the impact in the economy that we need more of those jobs.
Over the last 5 years, enrollment in bachelor's degree programs fell, while enrollment in vocational schools grew. That according to data from the National Student Clearinghouse.
You won't have that college debt. You won't have those student loans that you normally have with that college education.
Part of the shift appears to stem from a post-pandemic reevaluation of an investment in blue-collar work.
This shipyard runs an apprentice program giving workers the skills to do these jobs. They can earn up to $100,000 a year, and you don't need a college degree.
Both the federal and state government have invested a lot in infrastructure, so you're seeing a lot of jobs in those areas in construction.
As hiring rates for workers in their 20s have risen in recent years for roles requiring a vocational or associate's degree, some offer this warning.
You can get a high-paying career, a great wage right out of high school without a college degree. Yes, that is absolutely true, but we also need to pair that with leadership skills and leadership education and saying, after a few years, do you really see yourself physically doing that job all the way through retirement?
In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
Definitely interesting to see trade schools kind of making a comeback after the more traditional, 4-year college degree isn't quite serving people as it once was.
I've definitely seen a lot more people, young people starting their own businesses. My brother, in fact, has. It's really, I think it's pretty awesome. Certainly. A lot of drive there.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool to see.
Well, we've got cooler temperatures for the weekend. Today, about average. We'll go ahead and take a look outside. We can see a gorgeous sunrise out there, but out in 7th and Range Line, temperatures are getting up to upper 60s, low 70s. It's looking pretty good. Like I said, clouds are going to be moving in though, clearing out by mid-morning, but until then, we're going to start off the day with a few clouds. Now, rain showers moved through our northern counties, but have since dissipated and moved off to the east. Looking ahead, you can see a few showers just north of Wichita. We're going to keep an eye on those, see if they start to move into our area, but we're likely going to stay mostly dry throughout the rest of the day. So clouds clear by about noon today, and then we're off to a sunny day for the rest of the day. Temperatures getting up to those mid 80-degree weather, plus winds starting to pick up. You can see about 10-15 miles per hour as those showers do pass and the clouds pass. We're going to see winds starting to pick up, gusts up to 20-25 miles per hour. Not a disruption, but it's going to be a nice breeze once we see these cooler temperatures. Not to mention, if you're planning on Friday night football tonight, starting off kickoff about 78 degrees, so much cooler than what we saw yesterday, and by the end of the game it's going to be a little cooler, chilly, maybe mid 60s, overnight lows down to mid 50s. We're definitely cooling off for the weekend. I'll have those details coming up.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, the Carthage Water and Electric Plant released a statement yesterday in response to recent comments by the city's mayor, Dan Rife. The plant's board says Mayor Rife earlier this week issued a press release claiming the board did not provide salary information to the council last year. The board says that is false and that they provided the mayor, city administrator, and city council all requested information in a timely manner. Salary information for the plant has been at the center of the dispute between the city and board for several months. Well, voters in Missouri have a decision to make this November when it comes to sports betting. On the November ballot will be a decision to amend the Missouri Constitution to allow the Missouri Gaming Commission to regulate licensed sports wagering, including online sports betting, gambling boats, professional sports betting districts, and mobile licenses to sports betting operators. A 10% wagering tax on revenues received will be appropriated for education. The estimated tax revenue could range up to $28.9 million annually. Betting would be restricted to individuals physically located in the state and over the age of 21. If passed, the measure would also not have an impact on taxes. And those are our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Hunter Biden has pleaded guilty in his tax case. We'll have those details and his next steps. Topping Nation Watch this morning. The father of the teen shooter who killed 4 people Wednesday at Appalachia High School outside Atlanta has been arrested on multiple accounts. Authorities say 54-year-old Colin Gray faces 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children. Authorities have also charged his 14-year-old son as an adult. The teen faces murder charges after he killed 2 students and 2 teachers and wounded 9 others. Well, opening statements began Thursday in the trial for the man accused of gunning down 10 people in a Colorado supermarket. Prosecutors say the accused gunman, Ahmad Al-Awili, Elisa, prepared, planned, and went to the King Soopers store to execute people. Elisa has pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity for the 2021 shooting in Boulder. Elisa was diagnosed with schizophrenia after the massacre, and his motive for the murders is still unclear. Well, Hunter Biden pleaded guilty to all 9 charges against him in his tax case in California. The last-minute change means there won't be a lengthy trial. Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen has the story.
Hunter Biden walked out of a California courtroom, now facing up to 17 years in prison after pleading guilty to 9 tax charges. Having already gone through a high-profile trial in Delaware exposing salacious details of his personal life, his attorney says they didn't want to drag his family through it again.
Hunter decided to enter his plea to protect those he loves from unnecessary hurt and cruel humiliation.
The president's son has been accused of failing to pay more than $1 million in taxes while spending wildly on things like exotic cars, clothes, and adult entertainment. Hunter Biden says he paid back those taxes in full, saying in a statement, quote, "Like millions of Americans, I failed to file and pay my taxes on time. For that, I am responsible." The new guilty plea took prosecutors by surprise. They were reportedly planning to enter evidence connected to Hunter's overseas business dealings during the trial. This all comes as Hunter Biden also faces prison time for his conviction on gun charges.
If they had simply reached a new deal after the first one collapsed, they could have had a global agreement of all of these cases. Now he's going to go in sentencing as a convicted person on the gun charges.
Sentencing for Hunter Biden's gun charges will take place a week after the election, and he'll be sentenced for the tax charges in December. The White House maintains President Biden will not issue his son a pardon. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
And those are our top national stories. Here's Lindsay with a look at the forecast.
We've got nice sunrise as those clouds start to move over a 7th and range line. Clouds continue for the next couple of hours, but we're mostly going to stay dry. Those showers have dissipated and we're looking clear for the rest of the day. Once clouds clear out, sunny skies come out and we're seeing temperatures in the mid 80s dropping down to the mid to upper 70s by early this evening. Overnight lows down to the mid 50s. So we're definitely cooling down. We're on that cooling trend for the weekend. Temperatures tomorrow only getting up as high as mid to upper 70s. Much cooler, but I'll have those details coming up. Starting to move in, but until then, we're gonna enjoy that sunrise. Out in downtown Pittsburgh, still you can see the sunrise, but mostly clear. We're not expecting any more rain showers. Most of the rain has cleared out in those northern counties, but because of those rain showers, we had that cold front move in, so we see a drop in temperatures from yesterday, upper to mid 90s for way above average. Our average for this time of year is mid 80s, mid to upper 80s, about 86 degrees. But as we continue through the rest of the day, we're seeing average temperatures, so nearly a 10-degree drop from yesterday. Clouds do continue to shift south-southeast for the rest of the mid-morning, but other than that, we're going to remain mostly clear. So you can see those clouds shifting south by about 11:30 to noon. Mostly clear out of here, and then we're looking at a sunny day today. Temperatures getting up to 85 in Joplin, 86 in Parsons, 82 in Nevada, so much cooler than what we saw yesterday. And those temperatures continue to drop to have a really great looking evening. As you can see, about 78 in Joplin, about 7 p.m. tonight, so just when you're wanting to start your night. Friday night football, going out to dinner with your friends, family. 74 in Nevada, 79 in Yates Center. Much cooler evening, and it's going to be dry too. Not humid, not muggy, not rainy. Clear, nice looking night. By 11 p.m., temperatures drop down to mid 60s and then continue to drop for an overnight low down in the low 50s, upper 40s. So it's going to be much cooler. Starting your morning though, upper 60s, low 70s, still pretty cloudy. Winds have shifted out of the northeast, about 5-10 miles per hour, but gusts up to 20-25 miles per hour this morning. And then heading home, temperatures in the mid 80s, sunny skies, but still a little bit breezy. We've got winds gusting up to 20-25 miles per hour for most of the afternoon. This is about 2:30 today, but they continue to increase, getting up to about 30 miles per hour by this evening, 7:30 p.m., and then just continue to increase by then up to about 35, maybe even 40 miles per hour tonight. Winds do diminish by the overnight hours and into early Saturday morning, so we're just in for a very clear, calm weekend, sunny skies all weekend long. Temperatures only in the upper 70s to mid 70s for Saturday. Much cooler, and then Sunday still pretty cool, definitely below average, but a little bit warmer than Saturday. Temperatures getting up to low 80s, about 82. Unfortunately, we do start back on that warming trend after Sunday, but let's enjoy the weekend while we can. We've got football tomorrow night, Missouri Southern versus Pitt State. Temperatures, like I said, 77 for a high, and then starting to drop off by about 7 p.m., lower 70, 72, and then halftime down to the 60s. Now, our overnight lows for this weekend, we've got about 55 degrees tonight. Saturday, 51, and even lower in some areas, upper 40s for overnight lows. And then starting to warm up, you can see Monday through Friday, temperatures slowly increase to the low 90s and continue for the weekend. That's a look at your forecast. We'll be back after this.
Well, in the wake of Wednesday's deadly mass shooting at Appalachia High School in Winder, Georgia, mental health experts say it's critical those who encountered loss get the help they need. But while offering support to every person experiencing grief can be vital to their emotional recovery, when it comes to students in college, handling the loss of a loved one can be intense for them to manage under so many changing environments.
It's leading some psychologists to call the creation of new policies. Fox News' Chris DeMio takes a closer look at the recommendations.
Processing the death of a loved one can be difficult no matter how old you are, but for college students away at school, it can be even more overwhelming to handle that kind of grief, especially if individuals are far removed from their familiar support networks.
Within any 1 year period, 25 to 30% of college students are grieving the death of someone close to them.
Because grief can be so common across college campuses, some psychology experts caution how the strong emotional responses to loss can interfere with a student's ability to juggle intensive academic responsibilities.
They're trying to simultaneously stay cognitively, socially focused on campus while they're also trying to grieve and be in connection with their families.
But while most colleges offer mental health services, Dr. Heather Servati-Saib of Purdue University recommends that institutions offer bereavement leave policies for students.
For a student to have the assurance that for their instructors, to know and to be aligned and aware of a policy that gives students a certain number of days to be able to make up work without any kind of negative consequences, it's crucial.
This while also advocating for the formation of grief groups to help foster deeper connections.
That sense of isolation can be so decreased, it can make a huge difference to have a community within which you can share your grief in a very open kind of way and not have to filter.
Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
Well, it's great to see college campuses acknowledging this and trying to make spaces for students to deal with their grief and move forward after something like that happens, especially, being outside of home, being far away. So great to see. All right, well, coming up, the McDonald County Chamber of Commerce is teaming up with a student-run coffee shop to help grow their business.
And we're seeing nice weather today and for the weekend. We'll talk more about that coming up. We'll be right back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:26. I'm Elise Noe. A student-run coffee shop teams up with the McDonald County Chamber of Commerce to expand its menu. River Blend Coffee Shop now offers breakfast panini sandwiches, scones, and other baked goods, in addition to the drinks crafted by business students already working in the shop. Now, the additions to the menu come courtesy of food service students from McDonald County High School.
So in the beginning, we started out with a sweet. We've started out with scones, and we've made 2 different types of muffins. And this week, we've introduced a savory item, so we're doing breakfast sandwiches, and they've been selling way better than the pastries. So we're kind of focusing on seeing what other kind of savory items we can add to our menu.
River Blend Coffee Shop offers a unique hands-on learning environment where students from both business and culinary programs work together to operate a real small business. Students gain invaluable experience in food service, inventory management, sales, budgeting, and customer service, providing a practical and a real-world education that goes beyond the classroom. Well, Downstream Casino Resort shows its support for foster children. The casino donated a $10,000 check to CASA in Joplin. CASA leaders say there is a need to recruit and train new volunteers. The donation will go toward that and to support court-appointed foster children.
We are really, really thrilled to have this donation from Downstream. It allows us to continue our work for the mission, allows us to support kids who are in foster care.
If you're interested in learning more about CASA, just head over to our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, plans for a new building to help children in foster care are getting a boost. Covenant Harvest Church is partnering with the organization Fostering Connections and the Pitt State School of Construction to build a building to house free clothing for families and kids in the foster system. To help those efforts, the Pritchett Trust Grant Committee donated $25,000 to fund the new building.
Well, first and foremost, we want to honor the legacy that the Pritchetts left and to check and see if it fulfills our mission. Does it qualify for what we consider to improve the lives of residents in Crawford County? And we have a special affinity for families and children.
Now, construction of the new building is expected to break ground on September 16th. Now let's check in with Lindsay for a quick look at the forecast.
Well, current conditions out in Joplin, 7th and Range Line, temperatures in the upper 60s and mostly clear skies, but we do have those clouds starting to roll in. But other than that, we're going to be mostly clear today. We've got the clouds from those showers in the north along the frontal boundary. Showers have dissipated, so we're not expecting any more rain chances to move further south, but we are expecting those clouds to continue southeast. Now, once clouds clear out, we're going to have a fantastic looking day. Clouds clear about noon today. Temperatures getting up into these upper mid 80 degree temperature range. It's going to be fantastic. Plus a light breeze. Now it's a northerly breeze, so we're bringing in that cooler, crisp air. It's going to feel like fall today and for the rest of the weekend. You can see winds starting to pick up slightly around the front. 15 miles per hour as a max, but we also see wind gusts gusting up to 20-25 miles per hour throughout the rest of the day and increasing as we move into the evening. And speaking of the evening, we've got Friday night football, so temperatures by about 7 p.m. tonight, upper 70s, fantastic. Again, crisp, cool air, and then our fourth quarter temperatures about 66. Overnight lows dropping down to mid 50s, and that trend continues for the rest of the weekend. We've got cool temperatures all weekend long, but I'll have those details coming up.
These cold temperatures are going to be absolutely amazing. Thanks, Lindsay. Well, Pitt State is seeing a spike in COVID cases on campus. Now, while campus health is testing for the flu and strep, the number of COVID cases are higher in comparison. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more.
I have classmates, even instructors who have gotten sick.
With Pitt State students being back in shared living spaces, attending classes and social events, Pitt State's campus is seeing a spike in COVID cases.
One of my friends that I'm pretty close to had COVID last week. I was glad I didn't have it because then I wouldn't have to miss class.
Pitt State's Student Health Clinic is seeing a higher number of COVID cases compared to cases of other respiratory illnesses.
We have been testing for strep and flu and COVID, and mostly it's been COVID numbers. We have kids coming from here in the United States that are from all over and have probably been around other people that have been sick, and now they're coming here and mixing it up with our kids and the kids that are here in Pittsburgh.
Current CDC guidelines say if COVID symptoms are improving and the person has gone 24 hours fever-free without medication, they're cleared to return to normal activities. Taylor Panzer says these guidelines are beneficial so students don't miss out on class time.
On campus about 4 years ago when we saw the pandemic hit, and it was heartbreaking to have conversations with athletes, coaches, the sorority women and fraternity men about, unfortunately, we have to shut down the house or shut down games or practices.
All the precautions and the vaccines and all the awareness that we have now with COVID, that we don't have to miss out on life.
Panzer recommends that immunocompromised students, in particular, take extra precaution and are up to date on their COVID vaccination. Reporting in Pittsburgh, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
For people that are COVID positive, the CDC recommends preventing the spread of the virus by covering your mouth when you cough and washing your hands for at least 20 seconds. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Shannon Becker joins us in the studio this morning with his big 3 stories of the week. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We've got Shannon Becker in the studio with his big 3 news stories of the week. Good morning, Shannon. Happy to have you.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
All right, great. Thanks. Let's take a look at the big 3 live and local stories this week. Number 3, commercial structure fire, middle of the night yesterday. In fact, can you believe it? This building was so involved with fire, the roof collapsed almost as they arrived.
Wow.
It's kind of built into a berm here. There's a before and after
Yes.
pictures for you we've kind of put in here because it's kind of hard to understand where the building actually was. It's kind of in an industrial area on Adele Street in Joplin. They're still looking into the cause of the fire. Our number 2 story, live and local news, what's happening where you live. A man crashes into a dry creek bed. Now this is near Reed Springs in the Highlandville Fire Protection District. and what they call a high angle rescue is something that's a little involved. Firefighters, of course, their expertise helped save this young man. It's a very difficult rescue. He was transported to a Springfield hospital where he's still recovering from critical injuries. I know, isn't that incredible?
Oh my gosh.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
And then our number one story, another fire. Joplin firefighters want to ask you, be vigilant. Watch out, maybe a vacant house in your neighborhood. It was the 1500 block of South Pennsylvania, late Monday night. Flames coming out of the south side of a residence. Firefighters in Joplin were able to stop the fire from spreading to the next house. It was kind of windy that night. It didn't melt the siding all down the side. So if you ever see anything suspicious, call the Joplin police.
Absolutely, yes.
And then our bonus story of the week, one we'll be talking about today. It was something that's happened before. You know, you've got the Wildcat Park. It's got these great walking trails, but near Mother Nature's Crack, about 30 feet above the rocks below, a female fell yesterday about 5 o'clock. So Joplin firefighters had one crew at the top of the cliff, another crew at the bottom, and Deputy Fire Chief Andy Nimmo tells us it's safer to bring the patient out through the water on the boat below. She was rushed trauma to an area hospital and still recovering from what we understand. So be careful out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great place to be. It's a beautiful
especially
place.
with the weekend weather. But
just stay away from the edge.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Absolutely there. Well, Shannon, as always, thank you so much for being with us this Friday morning. We're always happy to have you. Stick around. We're back with more right after this.
Well, taking a look, 7th and Rangeline, we still got that really great sunrise. Clouds are kind of moving in, but overall looking pretty good today. Downtown Pittsburgh, also mostly clear. Sun's coming up, getting everybody's day started. Now, most of the showers in those northern counties have shifted off. We're expecting some more clouds to move south-southeast, but even taking a look, an isolated shower popping up near Katy, and it might increase, and we might see a few more popping up. So we're going to keep an eye on those showers, but for right now, most of the clouds are just going to move south-southeast. We're clearing out to have a really great looking day today. Temperatures getting up to the mid-80s for an high for today. And then if you're planning on any type of activity tonight, this evening, football, Friday night football, or just going out to dinner with friends or family, temperatures by 7 p.m., 78 degrees out in Joplin, 74 degrees out in Nevada, 79 in Yates Center, so much cooler than what we saw yesterday. Looking really great. And then continuing into the overnight hours, temperatures dropping down to the mid-50s, mid to lower 50s. It's going to be fantastic. Tomorrow is much cooler than today. We start off temperatures in the mid to upper 60s, mostly cloudy, but as those clouds clear out, we're looking fantastic for the afternoon temperatures. Like I said, getting up to those mid 80 degree temperatures, sunny all day, but winds do start to pick up. So we're seeing wind gusts up to 20-25 miles per hour, and through the evening, they continue to increase. So early afternoon, about 25 miles per hour. Then moving into the evening and overnight hours, winds start to pick up 30-35 miles per hour, even getting up to possibly 40 miles per hour before finally clearing out for the weekend. Now, tomorrow, fantastic. 77 degrees, sunny all day long, not breezy, not windy, no clouds. It's just going to be a perfect autumn day, clear weekend. Sunday warming up a little bit, 82 degrees for a high, but we do start on that warming trend after Monday. Now, if you're planning on going to the Missouri Southern versus Pitt State game, temperatures, like I said, 77 degrees, and then they continue to drop for the night. 72 about kickoff at 7 p.m., halftime 67, and then our overnight low down to 51 degrees tomorrow. It's going to be a much cooler weekend. So today, like I said, temperatures mid-80s. Tomorrow, upper 70s to mid-70s. And then those overnight lows today and tomorrow, mid to lower 50s. In some areas, may even see temperatures slightly cooler than that. Sunday starting to warm up slightly, but Monday through Friday is when we really see that warm up, gradual warm up all the way up into the lower 90s, and that continues for the weekend until we see a low pressure system moving in the following week. Until then, we're going to enjoy these sunny days. We'll go over to Elise with Consumer Watch.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, a report shows how much Social Security could be on the chopping block if a fix isn't made in the next 10 years. Reports show that Social Security recipients could face a 21% decrease in their benefits if fixes aren't made to the trust fund by the end of 2033. Trust fund reserves could be on a path to being depleted by the fourth quarter of 2033 to trigger the 21% cuts without a fix. Well, stocks were unsteady yesterday as representatives from Kite Realty Group ringing the closing bell at the New York Stock Exchange. Investors are anxiously awaiting today's job report for August. Many see those results as crucial to the Fed's decision on interest rates expected in September. Now, Thursday, the Dow dipping 200 points, the Nasdaq closing up 40 points, and the S&P fell almost 17 points. Well, California lawmakers are cracking down on tech companies using the Golden State as a large-scale beta test for self-driving car technology. Fox News' correspondent Eben Brown has more in this edition of our Fox on Tech series.
Companies like Tesla and Waymo have been testing self-driving cars for more than a year in the Golden State, hoping to perfect the technology they say will dominate transportation in the future. But a growing number of accidents have lawmakers asking tough questions about accountability. And now the California State Assembly has passed a new law aimed at addressing those concerns. It's called the Self-Driving Cars Safety and Transparency Bill, a first-of-its-kind law that requires companies behind self-driving cars to report crashes and malfunctions to the state DMV, which would then make the data public, a move supported by most California drivers.
It should be on the company for their autonomous vehicle violating some sort of traffic law, but instead, it's fine. We don't get in trouble.
Lawmakers say the move was needed because the state DMV hasn't updated its regulations since 2018, but since then they've authorized trials for more than 40 different companies, essentially making California a large-scale beta test for self-driving cars. Supporters of the bill say the next step is to increase accountability, pointing out traditional automakers put their cars through rigorous safety tests before they hit the road.
When you take that Silicon Valley move fast and break things approach and you apply it to automotive development, what you see is what we see here. People dying for absolutely no good reason.
And Tesla is reportedly planning to introduce the next generation of its self-driving taxis early next month. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
And those are our top consumer stories. Now let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. Well, the Tulsa Great Raft Race returned to the Arkansas River for the first time in 5 years.
And Marie Bryan shares what rafters enjoyed the most of the race.
At the starting line in Sand Springs, hundreds of people gather to either launch their boats or watch the spectacle. Rafts of every type went into the water, expecting a trip that usually takes 2 to 3 hours. For most, it took much longer.
The last couple of years when they had let it out before the Zinc Lake, and it was probably the speed of the water was probably twice as fast as what it was, and then we also had wind going against us, and so it took us a little longer this year.
But the longer trip for this Talladega Nights team did not matter.
It was a lot of fun. It took a while, but it was fun. We had smoke bombs, we had water balloons thrown at us, we had kayak that separated, we got kayak that stayed together. It was great. We had a great time. We put in a lot of hard work. It was great.
All along the banks and the bridges, people watched to see boats in the water for the first public event on the river since the creation of the new Zinc Lake.
Man, it was a fun experience. First time for me.
Yeah, same here. It was amazing.
At the start of the bend in the river, where the water can be shallow, the fire department and sheriff's department had boats guiding people and standing by in case of trouble. The only problems were the occasional shallow spot and unfavorable wind.
But yeah, I've seen years where they get stuck in places, and me and my brothers be out there helping people, actually.
Definitely a fun event. Certainly great to be out on the water last week, and I'm sure it was a little hot on Sunday. So cooling off in the water, getting in some last minute summer fun.
Definitely the perfect weather for it. Even though it's hot, at least you get to enjoy the water.
Yeah, it's some perfect weather this weekend.
Oh yeah. Not water necessarily weather, because it's much cooler. We're starting to see those autumn temperatures. And today, temperatures started in the upper 60s, low 70s, but we warmed up to mid 80s by the late afternoon. Sunny skies as well, so we're looking pretty good today. Temperatures are going to remain cool for the weekend. 77 degrees for a high on Saturday, 82 degrees for a high on Sunday. So we're well below average. Average at this time of year is typically right around 85, 86 degrees. So it's going to be a very cool Saturday. Overnight lows Saturday are down to low 50s, possibly in some areas even upper 40s. So much cooler. Now, Sunday warming up slightly because we are going on that warming trend as we move through Sunday and into early next week. So Sunday's overnight lows are dropping down to upper 50s. Much warmer than what we see Saturday night. So for the next couple of days, we're going to enjoy these fall, autumn temperatures before we have a warm up as we move through the week. Next week, now it's going to be sunny all weekend and all week long. Plus today is looking fantastic. I hope everyone enjoys it. We'll have more news after this.
Well, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Pitt State Student Health Clinic is seeing a higher number of COVID cases compared to other respiratory illnesses. Current CDC COVID guidelines say if COVID symptoms are improving and the person has gone 24 hours fever-free without medication, they are cleared to return to normal activities. Campus Health recommends immunocompromised students to take extra precaution and keep up to date on their COVID vaccination. Well, voters in Missouri have a decision to make this November when it comes to sports betting. The amendment to the Missouri Constitution to allow the Missouri Gaming Commission to regulate licensed sports wagering. It's a 10% wagering tax on revenues received will be appropriated for education. If passed, the measure would also not have an impact on taxes. Well, the Carthage Water and Electric Plant has released a statement in response to recent comments by the city's mayor, Dan Rife. The plant's board says Mayor Rife issued a press release claiming the board did not provide salary information to the council last year. The board says that is false and they provided all requested information in a timely manner. Salary information for the plant has been at the center of a dispute between the city and a board for several months.
Recap on the weather. We had a few showers this morning and may see an isolated shower or two still remaining, but for the most part, clouds will clear out by noon and then we're going to have a sunny afternoon. Temperatures warming up to the mid 80 degree temperature range and then dropping down through the 70s and 60s down to mid 50s for an overnight low. That trend continues for the weekend. Highs on Saturday up to 77, 78 degrees. Every county is going to be in those upper degree 70 range, and then our overnight lows down to low 50s. We start on a warming trend as we move through Sunday and through the rest of the week, only getting up to low 90s by next weekend.
Alrighty, a whole full week of sun. Doesn't get any better than that.
And you know, just this weekend, the cool temperatures, I'm so excited.
Absolutely, it's going to be awesome. Well, police and firefighters were able to safely guide a wayward white-tailed deer out of an apartment building in New Jersey. The first responders say they were called into action when the deer tried to set up squatters' rights in the new building.
In the video, the deer is seen running out of the building while police and firefighters cheer from the sidelines, holding boards to help create a pathway.
You know, deer are pretty gutsy. Like they truly are, and to see them, you know, running around the way that they do and get themselves into funny situations is always interesting to see.
That is true. I mean, I love deer. I see them all the time.
They're so cute.
And they are cute,
Yeah.
but they're a lot bigger than I think
Right,
I ever
yeah.
expect them to be. Like every time I think about it, I'm like, oh, they're so tiny and adorable. And then I see them on the road, I'm like,
now
they're
imagine
pretty
seeing
big.
that in, you know,
An
up close
apartment.
in an apartment building.
That is
Yeah,
true.
how about that?
I'm glad the firefighters and police helped him get
Yes,
out and safely.
absolutely.
Well, thanks for letting us put the good in your morning. We'll be back with more news and weather at noon.
Have a great morning.